I want to have a little play with playing with differences. And so what I'm going to do is just prepare some paper here. I'm not using colour for this, I'm just going to use black and white. Just going to put some gesso on just to create a bit of a tooth to the paper and a bit of texture. Okay, I'm just going to leave those to dry. So I've done 3 sort of drawing ones. Now this one I'm going to use a bit of paint on. There's other ways of getting through that white paint, and that is with a comb. Okay, so we'll just let that dry a little bit and see if we can dab off some of that white paint. While we're waiting for that to dry, I'll come in here with a bit of black. And this one, I'm just going to put some gesso over parts of that black marker just to make that a little bit different. And we might do the same here. So this is gesso that's got a little bit of water on the brush. I'll do those letters again. I'm just going to see what happens with a drip. Okay, now put some gesso on that, and that's sort of softening all that up really nicely as well. So I'm just going to leave those to dry now. Okay, so I'm just going to see if we're going to, what happens is the water, where the water has sat, you can get some sort of nice soft marks doing that. So that's kind of almost dry. Now looking at them, I just think I'm going to need a little more black. So I might go black over the top of this with the marker. I want to bring some more black onto this. I think I've got too much white. So it's kind of bringing out the inner 4-year-old in you doing these sorts of drawings. So it's really abstract drawing nothing much, just making marks. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rip them And I'm not ripping them in half, I'm ripping them so that there's a big piece and a little piece. Okay, and now I'm going to try and put things that are different next to each other. So I've got this which is very textured, and if I put that next to that, that as a composition looks really interesting to me, because this is really textured, this is really smooth, these lines are really thick, these lines are sort of very different. So I really like that combination. Okay, so I like that next to that. So we've got dark, we've got sort of these letters which are very different. We've got black on white, and then we've got white on black, which is different. We've got these sort of wandery lines, but we have these wandery lines here. So there is some sort of relationship. And we have this broken white on black here, and we've also got sort of white on black over here. So there's a relationship, but there's also differences. So that works quite nicely. Okay, what I might do here is I like this as a sort of making a square there. If I made that black, I think that could be quite interesting. So I'm just going to do that. Alright, so I think when this is dry, if I stick those together, I think that as a composition is quite nice. I like this composition because that is very different, and yet there seems to be a connection. This one I think works quite nicely as a composition as well. So this is all about making differences work together. So there has to be something that's similar, and in terms of these, the thing that's similar is that they're both black and white. Every piece that we're playing with has got that in common. They're just black and white. The other thing that they have in common is that they have line. Some of them have texture. Some of them have a lot of black. Some of them have a lot of white. But they're all sort of, they've got something in common. But it's putting things together where there's differences that are really quite strong, and there are connections as well. And when you get those two things working together, you can get a really interesting composition. And this is a really good way of just tuning your eye into looking for differences, and also it's a really good way of getting ideas for compositions. So I'm going to stick these into my sketchbook, and they'll be a sort of a bouncing off point, or a reminder, or just, you know, just an interesting exercise to do. So I hope that's been helpful, and something that maybe you could do when you're sort of thinking about exploring differences as well.